The Perfect Father. The True Story of Chris Watts, His All-American Family, and a Shocking Murder by John Glatt. Hardcover, 3 or 4 pages. Published July 21st, 2020 by St. Martin's Press. The review is as follows. It is all Shan'ann Watts' fault. She was too controlling, always nagging and belittling her husband. She didn't want him to do what he wanted. She separated him from his hometown and family. She had a toxic relationship with them and constantly fought with them and him. She was obsessed with social media and manufactured appearances. Her need for finer things in life put the family in debt again and again and put pressure on her doormat husband. She insisted on having kids when her body had deficiencies and all her kids developed huge health problems, but she kept on getting pregnant. She was highly insecure and craved 24/7 attention from her husband, friends, family, even strangers. She was too focused on her career. She had OCD. She was too organized. This is what Glatt believes or wants you to believe in this incredibly surface-level, substanceless, unobjective, straight-from-the-headlines book where Shan'ann Watts plays Meghan Markle to Chris Watts' Prince Harry. The basic problem with it is that Glatt hasn't really interviewed anyone or done any footwork to gain any insight into Watts and has simply recompiled, copy-pasted, all info readily available through public records and online data in a serialized chapter format to complete this book. That is fine if you just want to preserve a basic timeline in book format, but not so much if you want answers. The major source available to Glatt is Shan'ann Watts' over-the-top Facebook page where she obsessively promoted the Thrive supplement benefits by showcasing her affluent lifestyle and health challenges, something all celebs, Instagrammers, influencers, social media star wannabes do to make money. And this aggressive self-promotion enabled her to procure a high-end status both she and that supposedly docile yes-man husband enjoyed. Glatt quotes and reproduces these Facebook posts here infinitum. His other sources are all second-hand and biased and stuck in their relational prisms. Media interviews of her parents and brother, his parents and sister, her friends, his friends, her co-workers, his co-workers. Her side supports her. Chris Watts' side supports him. Everyone is baffled by the sudden gruesome turn of events. The police records are after the fact. No one knows what their vicious quarrels were about: money, sex, behavior, relatives, or being sick of each other. Glatt doesn't try to peel away any mirage, ask any questions about their passive-aggressive actions, beliefs, lives. Actually, it doesn't look like he spoke to anyone, and even if he did, the result is all what people already know from the newsreels, which still boggles readers and viewers. Most importantly, he hasn't talked to the subject of the title. That is frustrating because there's so much to forensically investigate in the murderer and his dysfunctional marriage, not the least the removal of any notion of dignity of human life, let alone that of one's own children. Because, let's be clear, at the end of the day, everyone wants to make sense of a senseless criminal act in a white picket fence lane by an entitled, rich, white, quiet, hunky dude who throws it all away one Monday morning for a bit of PUSSY. Maybe all those Thrive patches, protein shakes, and obsessive workouts went to his head and changed his brain chemistry. Maybe he didn't want to be a single father to 2 sick kids. Maybe an argument spiraled into a Fargo. Why did he come up with a half-baked confession after 10 hours of questioning? Why did he not ask for a lawyer? Was Shannon's blood alcohol level due to drinking or decomposition? Would investigators have figured out the oily burial ground for daughters on their own? Why didn't he at least try to plan the murder well? Why didn't he just walk away? What really happened? Who knows? The only thing clear is that Chris Watts is a very stupid man, and you don't need to read this run-of-the-mill book to know that. I felt sorry for the 2 sets of parents, Wattses and Rizzusex, forever marked with every watt of their family and children laid bare for public consumption, analysis, and ridicule in books, TV, film, internet, and around water coolers. And that is Chris Watts' fault, not Shan'ann Watts'. I'll also make observations of kind of like an armchair detective over here. Number 1. On a personal level, I did not understand why Sussex needed to file a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit against Chris Watts. They had already got hold of the estate and a fund for proper burial. I thought placing a monetary value on their pain and loss was beneath them. Surely their trust in people and humanity cannot be less than the Wattses, and those unfortunate people cannot even sue anyone. Number 2. I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought Chris Watts' letter to their youngest daughter on what would have been her 4th birthday in July 2019, written from jail by the way, was in bad taste. Like, this guy had zero self-reflection even after, quote, finding God, unquote. For someone who smothered the girls in blanket and threw them in an oil tank, noting how shallow the sound was, to make references to, quote, you wanted to be splashing around, you were always flying around, you loved all your blankies, you couldn't go to sleep without 2 books, unquote, and to keep up a sense of entitlement of, quote, I have, I love, I would, I miss, unquote, and never once write that he's sorry or ask for forgiveness. He keeps telling the dead daughter what value she brought to his life, which is sneaky because of the cold, hateful, I own you manner in which he killed, and humiliating way he disposed all of. Number 3. Nikki Kessinger was smart, got good advice, played her cards well, immediately deleting all evidence of an affair, cutting off contact, calling the police, safeguarding and negotiating her role in future, memorably Googling the right things at the right time. My personal favorite, Kessinger Googled to see how much money Amber Frey had received for her best-selling book Witness for the prosecution of Scott Peterson and whether people hated her afterward. Remember, this was on the Saturday after murders on the Monday, and exactly 6 days since she Googled anal sex, double penetration and threesomes for her evening romp with Chris Watts, and 2 weeks since she Googled wedding dresses. Girl knew how to prepare for all eventualities and chapters and weeks of her life and make the most of them. Besides, it's got to be some ego boost to know that a guy snuffed out his entire family and himself just so that he could be with you. Footnote that cast a long shadow. Number 4. What happened to Dieter, the family dog? This review of the book's ARC was posted on Goodreads site on April 10th, 2020. Thank you for listening. Do share your comments below.